Welcome back. Episode 4 of Let's Talk, which is just an unscripted conversation with Patrick, Danny, and I, where he just kind of asks me questions and then I answer them.
Awesome. All right, Dusty. 2024. We had the Feds cutting rates. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about
So yeah, it was the first rate cut in, 3 or 4 years, I believe. We've been in a rising rate environment since then. And they finally cut rates. They've indicated that, they will continue to cut rates next year, but they're also going to keep a close eye on all the data that they analyze, right, and make sure that it's pointing in the right direction for them.
How did you feel hearing chatter about rate cuts towards your business? Did it change anything?
Well, I think affordability is the biggest challenge in the real estate market today. When you combine higher interest rates with higher insurance costs, and then home prices remaining higher. When you hear that rates may be coming down a little bit, I think it's encouraging for home buyers. Conversely, though, a lot of times when rates come down, home prices go up. But that's kind of a lag, right? That takes a little time for that to come into effect. So if home buyers can get a little slightly lower rates, or start to see rates coming down, I think it'll build some confidence in the real estate market and their ability to purchase for next year.
When rates were being predicted and chattered online about rates cuttings coming, and you had a plethora of people coming out saying, this is the best time to buy, rates didn't really go down. The mortgage rates didn't really move a lot since the rate cuts. It actually kind of...
Yeah, so the mortgage rates, the long-term rates actually came down in the months prior to the anticipated the short-term or the overnight rate, the federal funds rate being lowered. Most people believe that some of that was baked in already, and the markets were already reacting to a potential rate cut. So the mortgage rates came down, I think, in September. I'm just going off memory. And the Federal Reserve, made their cut in November, I believe. Then mortgage rates actually came back up, after. So, they're two separate things. Even though they tend to follow each other over a longer period of time, they're two separate things that are not directly connected.
So let's talk about that. Like, it went back up. So everyone's saying to lock in your, mortgage price now, or it's a great time to buy. What's your thoughts on professionals who are commission based, marketing that, campaigning that to their base or?
Well, I think that it's the right time for a home buyer to buy when it's right for them and their family to buy. And I think I think there's some when the rates came down, they were in the lower sixes for a short period of time. I think it's fair to say, being that, we were at 8 at one point.
2023, October.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
But, in relation to that, maybe it was a good opportunity to buy. But I think just making a blanket statement like that's dangerous. You have to talk to each home buyer and understand their situation, understand their financial situation to know if right now is the right time to buy or not.
So let's talk about that. We always hear about, this is a great time to buy, to build equity, to build, a legacy or whatever. Go buy a home now, regardless of the price of the home or the mortgage rates. In your professional opinion, and also your investor yourself, for a young family, single family, wanting to buy a home, when you say affordability, what does that mean for a family?
Their monthly payment. Everything comes down to, especially, a young family, their monthly payment. So, the interest rate and the insurance and your property taxes typically are all in your monthly payment. So, is that comfortable for you? And will you even qualify per the guidelines as it relates to your income? So, that's affordability. Basically, the cost of the monthly payment versus your income, and that is affordability. So, to fix that, we either have to have incomes go up or the monthly payments go down. So one of the two, or a combination of both. Does that answer your question?
And sometimes the hidden costs when buying a home is the rising home insurance premium and property taxes too, correct?
Right. That's a good point that a lot of home buyers don't think about. That next year it could be a little bit more because your insurance goes up or your taxes go up. I think that is a very good point to bring up. Because rarely does, well, I won't say rarely. I mean, sometimes insurance will come down. If more carriers move to the market, we go a long time without any kind of catastrophic storms, it can become more competitive and competition brings prices down. So I wouldn't say they never come down, but I would say I would anticipate them going up more than they come down.
And in Baldwin County, not saying most of the homes, but a lot of the homes that are single family that are affordable with the new construction tend to come with HOA, correct?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, a lot of the new construction that say the track or the production builders are building in neighborhoods with HOAs.
And you've emphasized a lot that they have better insurance, right?
The new construction does, yeah. Per the Gold Fortified certificate, tends to save you, 50% on your insurance.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So let's say you bought a home that was built in 2000 or 1990s, single family. Not to say that's less than a new construction, but what's the insurance difference usually?
It could be as much as double, for a similar style, for similar size home, especially if it has an older roof and older hot water heater. Now, if you get a new roof and a new hot water heater, that you get a little bit better rate. If you can prove you can cover your window coverings, if you've had it replumbed, you don't have any risky plumbing, all those things come into play when you're, getting estimates for insurance premiums.
And so does HOA annual pricing goes towards affordability when?
Yeah, not really in our market because our HOA in most neighborhoods are not that high. The most neighborhoods, unless they have pools and amenities, are from $250 a year to maybe $1,000 a year. That's not a huge impact.
Okay.
That's more in like the 55 and older stuff where they're doing their lawn care and that
trash service, all that stuff.
Yeah, some. Yeah.
So did the Fed cuts, I believe they cut in, was it March or something like that? Was it?
No, I think the first cut was just a few months ago. Yeah.
So did that make did the price of homes go down or did it remain the same since the Fed cut?
I don't think it had much of an impact. I mean, they lowered it, I think, 50 basis points at that time. Like I say, when the long-term rates came down to in the low sixes, we had a little bit of a reaction to that, but I'd say still marginal. When the feds lower the rate, it makes it cheaper for businesses and other banks to borrow money from each other. So, it could start to charge up the economy and therefore create more opportunity for people to make money and therefore create more opportunity for people to buy homes. So that's really the effect, but I haven't seen much measurable effect.
And so let's talk about homes as of today on December 17th, 2024, ending of 2024. Homes on market, days on market, transactions. Where are we at with the current housing market in Baldwin County?
Yeah, but you got to be careful in Baldwin County, like what market?
Right.
You have the Eastern Shore, then you have kind of central South Baldwin County, and then you have the beach, all kind of different markets. The beach, the condo market at the beach is very saturated in inventory. So high inventory market down there. The single family market and really Eastern Shore and Central Baldwin is pretty normalized. 4.5 months inventory, days on market around 90, thereabouts. Very normalized, prices very stable. It's just taking a little longer to sell homes.
I've seen somewhere it says that you have new construction homes and you have single family older homes. The price is marginally different. Would you say that older homes needs to be more competitively priced to sell quicker in this market right now?
Yeah, I think if you just have to know what you're competing against and how many of them, and then how many buyers, kind of come through the turnstile, as we have talked in another video, in a period of time. So, if you have a very similar home, but it's brand new, 10 years newer than you, you're going to need to be priced under that. Unless there's something better about your neighborhood or something bigger, maybe your lot's bigger, some sort of compensating factor to offset that they can get the same square footage, right up the street for a brand new home. So if all things being equal, you're typically going to be priced under those new construction homes.
So is there any cool way or unique factors on getting a lower interest rate? Like, is there any way to lower?
Yeah. So, we've been talking about temporary rate buy downs for a couple of years now, and I still think they're a good option for home buyers. And I could go into that if you want. It might be a whole another video. But Google 2-1 temporary rate buy down, and you can learn about that. You can also just buy points and permanently buy the rate down. So that's when a good agent will understand how long you're going to hold the home. If you plan on holding a home 10, 15, 20 years, then really, if you can afford that original monthly payment, you're better just to buy the rate down permanently. It has a less of impact in the beginning of the term, but over 15, 20 years, it has a much greater impact of interest saved. So, those are two options.
So is that how, like, we buy down a rate? Is it a lot of money to buy down a rate?
I'm just ballparking the temporary buy down on a $400,000 loan might be around $15,000. Don't quote me on that. There's a calculator out there. And you would get that from the seller. So you basically would find a listing where the seller is willing to negotiate rather than lowering the price $15,000. They're willing to fund this buy down program, because the whole deal is the buy down has more impact on the monthly payment than the price reduction will. Okay, so you might save $300 a month in year one rather than $30 a month if you would have just lowered the price and not participated in the program.
Got it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the length of 10 years. So it's going to fall back up to 10-year yield, to the federal cut. A little bit, this is a financial educational part. Like, in your opinion, being in this market for as long as you have, what's the economics, financial literacy that you obtain knowing about the 10-year bond and the interest rate cuts and federal short interest, right?
Yeah, well, if you're talking about the 10-year Treasury, first, I don't pretend to be a loan officer. I don't pretend to be an economist or a CPA or an attorney. I just try to have a basic knowledge of how to explain it on a very, very basic level. And the 10-year Treasury is just kind of a benchmark that we kind of look at where the long-term rates kind of follow, right? Because it's almost like it's an investment that the investors are comparing their other investments to. Okay, so it's kind of like a benchmark. So based on the return of the 10-year Treasury, it could affect these other investments like mortgage-backed securities, which heavily affect the long-term mortgage rate.
So for you, like, what when you talk to your buyers or sellers on this information, like, why is that important for them in their decisions on buying or selling a home?
I just think a buyer and seller needs to know that the short-term rate is different than the long-term rate, and the long-term rate is determined on a market almost intradaily, very volatile. It could change by a quarter of a point a day if it's super volatile. Usually it's less. But knowing the short-term rate over a longer period of time, the long-term rate will follow. So when the Fed starts to bring it down, the mortgage rates will come down as well. But they don't really need to know much about the 10-year Treasury. That's almost for professionals to kind of follow, and then us to educate in a more simple way. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the NAR settlement. Do you think, in your opinion, has it changed anything for you?
Yeah, it's changed the way we do business, I think. It's changed the conversations we have with clients and potential clients.
In what way?
It kind of brings commission a little more to the forefront. Okay. It also makes commission part of the negotiation in the purchase agreement, which I think is good.
Like negotiating.
I think what it fixed is the mystery of how the buyer agent gets paid, and how much. And So in that regard, I like it. But when it comes to the actual like commissions, it hasn't changed much. It hasn't really changed how much buyer's agents get paid. It just changes the conversation about it. That's been my experience.
Have you had a lot of sellers on your listing saying, nope, we're not paying for the buyer's commission?
I've had a few, but very few. The majority understand. And some of this is market driven. Right now we're in a balanced to even buyer's market, right? Where, they are more willing to incentivize. But that could change, again, where they become less willing to pay a buyer's agent's commission because if you've got 5 offers,
right,
and 4 of them are asking you to pay a buyer's agent and 1 is not, you may choose the 1 is not, But if you have 1 offer only 1 offer in the first month, you may be more willing to pay. So, I think it's a little bit market driven.
But we haven't been in that market yet, though, right?
We haven't been back in an extreme seller's market since the change.
A different ballgame when it happens.
Maybe. We'll see, Yeah.
With the NAR Summit, there was a lot of talk of real estate agents being obsolete. Don't need them anymore. What's your thoughts? Do you still need real estate agents in 2025?
I think you need skilled ones and competent ones and ones that bring value and ones you can trust, ones you can develop a long-term professional relationship with, ones that provide really good service from a communication standpoint, from a marketing standpoint. But did it eliminate, some the need for agent just to go open the door and provide no other value? Maybe. It's still kind of working itself out. But I think a good real estate agent can save a client thousands of dollars and also give the proper counsel. We're not fortune tellers for the future, but based on our experience, what we would do that can set our clients up for success in the future.
So I've noticed being around you for the last 2 years consistently, but also we worked together since 2017. So been around you for a while. I've noticed in the last 2 years, you have a lot of professional clients who are in different markets. They do different things. Mm-hmm. They're reoccurring clients as well.
What do you mean?
They use you as their real estate agent, like they're professionals.
In other fields and things.
But they use you as their, go-to real estate agents.
Yeah, I think I've got a well-versed client base from, professionals in all fields to retirees to, and also, first time. I've always worked with everybody.
So what do you think, because from what I was there, they're very competent people, but they use it and trust you as their real estate agent. What do you think is that factor that they're like, I want to use you for your expertise? What is that factor?
I think they trust me. I like to think that they do, that I'm not going to put a transaction before their interest above their interest, to put money, my money before theirs. And I like to think that, they would come to me because they know I'm going to do a good job. But I'm not gonna not make mistakes. So, when I make a mistake, I'm going to try to make it right. I'm going to try to address it quickly. If something goes wrong. If you do enough real estate transactions, there are things that are going to come up. But also, it's just relationship based. Try to build deep relationships with people, and want to be a go-to source for them in all things. Yeah.
Seems like there's been a lot of turbulence in the real estate market. I believe our last Christmas, not Christmas, it was our last year this time, we had a end of the year annual team meeting at the Little Goon House, and Heather talked about a stat of there was a 50% or so less of agents sold one home or none. Right. What about this year? That was last year.
I haven't looked at any data specifically, but I've heard that it's even a larger number this year.
Why do you think so?
I think that when things get difficult or an agent starts struggling, what I'm starting to see, I'm just reporting the facts. they don't necessarily get out. They don't give up their license, but they go start working another job, whether it be part-time or full-time. And then that negatively affects their ability to sell homes, but also come across as a professional. If you're not solely focused on the needs of your clients, and I'm not faulting those people, but that's just what's happening. I'm just reporting the facts. People are doing that, so therefore they're not out of the industry. Right. So it's going to show up on stats like that as them not selling any homes.
So for you, it seems like you've been managing, you're able to manage your business really well by, I guess, keeping your pipeline full. Mm-hmm. What would you say what's your discipline on doing business? And people always told me, real estate, 1 month you're making so much, and the next 2 months you're completely empty. Right. It doesn't really seem like that's the pattern with you. What is your strategy?
I think that, I did heavy prospecting, throughout my career. A little bit less now. It's more about staying in touch with past clients, but we're continuously marketing, and give Heather all the credit for that, and you, Patrick. We're consistently being present. We have a brand, I think, that we've built, we've earned over time. That is, we're full-time professionals, and we're here, to be of service. And we work hard. So we show up, and we talk to people every single day, and we try to improve our systems all the time. So there's just very little gaps of productivity, and that's like a snowball effect over time. If you take out a month of productivity, well, that can have a long-term effect. So we've never done that. We've never done that. So it just snowballs and snowballs if you keep producing.
How are you able to maintain so focus on just real estate in today's age where everyone's a DIYer and have 20 other side hobbies? How have you maintained focus on saying this is my core?
I understand profitability for one. It's kind of like you can have other investments, but you can really only have one true business, and so we're investing, but we're not, diluting our time. Where it's kind of like raising a kid. You're focused on your one kid. You might spend time with the nieces and nephews, but your main focus is the kid. So we've, I can't remember the question.
How you've maintained focus.
And then I love what I do. It's easy to get up and come to work every day. I love the people we get to do it with. I love the clients we get to meet. I love the challenges that we get to face. It doesn't always go perfectly. And I love the growth. I'm not a manager, I'm a grower. Mm-hmm. So, just always trying to figure out a way to do it better, do it quicker.
You never had that inkling of I'm just going to travel to South America and just hang out for 6 months?
Not yet. No. I think that comes for us way later. And the kids are grown, and we can look at some of that. But
so for you as an agent, and as a leader and as a grower, there's obviously people who are having part-time jobs has step away from real estate, but they want to do this full time. What is your main advice for them to be hey, this is how you do it?
I think my advice for that is you have to I know it's hard sometimes, when, obviously you have to pay your bills and take care of your family. So there's nothing wrong with what people are trying to do. But I guess my advice really has never changed. A transition period is okay. If you're coming from one profession into real estate, there's going to be a transition. It's okay to do it both, but you come to a jumping off point, and if you always have a plan B, you'll never go all in on plan A. So you got to eventually get rid of your plan B if it's right for your family. It may not be. The reality is real estate sales, and that's not just real estate. All these sales jobs are not for everybody. And there's nothing wrong with going and doing something else if you feel like you need to. But if you want to have a success in real estate, you have to jump off, get rid of your safety net, and go all in at some point. That's my experience.
And what are the discipline to go all in? What is it to make it in this market, in this current market?
just persistent effort. You need to have discipline in your day. My buddy John Bonacci says you can only control one thing, and that is your time. So control your time very, very well. You got to have a lot of real estate conversations. You got to continue to improve your skills. You got to surround yourself with the right people, whether it be support, culture, and leaders. And you got to market yourself too. So you have to be seen. You can have a lot of real estate conversations and not be a marketer and make it work, but it sure is easier if you have a lot of real estate conversations and you market yourself tastefully, and be seen as a competent real estate agent. And you put those together, you can have some success.
So do you think just casually posting about whatever housing market stat isn't enough today to do real estate?
No, you got this. I can't remember, was it Tom Ferry or one of them? The sea of sameness. Everybody looks the same now. Everybody's saying the same thing. So you got to figure out a way to stand out without looking foolish, I think. So you have to stand out in some way, whether it be the quality of your marketing or the competence of your marketing, or the way you say it, or the way you produce it, or whatever. You have to stand out in some kind of way.
And I'm gonna say this, but it's not gonna, I kind of want more of your action, your response versus the question that I'm gonna add in. So we have a lot of change in this office, from the beginning of this year and to now, a lot of changing office or whatever, team members. How do you persist on going forward? You're a grower. You have these people coming in, people are leaving. How do you stay motivated on your mission?
Well, I really care about the people that are here, for one. I want to be the best I can for the people that decide to be here. Whoever that is, I want to do the best I can for them and lead them the best I can. Make sure they are being, and if they do leave, I want them to be better than I found them. They're going to be better agents, and I can confidently say they are. But then also, we know where we're going. We're going to be steadfast. We'd love to have people come with us. It's more fun to do it with people, but we just never wavered on any of that.
Do you get discouraged?
Yeah, I think so. We get disappointed sometimes when things happen a certain way, where, you really pour in to some people or something and it doesn't work out.
Right.
That can be a little discouraging, but, you bounce back.
Right.
Get right back at it.
So
now we're at, the ending of 2024. What would you say, how has your year been in your personal real estate journey this year as a leader, as a grower? 2024, what would you say, how has it been for you?
I think it's been great. I think we've learned a lot of leadership lessons, Heather and I, that we can take forward. I've sold plenty of real estate. I think it was a tough market for a lot of people. I feel like we weathered that storm pretty well. We think we're well equipped to take all the lessons we learned this year and do better next year. So that's kind of how we look at it.
In this tough environment, how were you able to, still do well in this market while people are leaving?
I think it goes back to what you asked me before about, all the things that you have to do, and then that building and just never stopping, that will bring you through, a little bit more of a tougher environment. If you've done all the right things for a number of years, that can carry you through. You can't just start on a down year and expect to, your actions that day or whatever to carry you through. So, and it's also the people that carry through a little bit of a tougher year are heavily rewarded when things pick up a little bit.
Correct. So now, we are looking into 2025. What are you excited for the most about 2025?
Is this where
Yeah.
Okay. Well, super excited on this new journey that Heather and I are going to be on. for years we have kind of toyed with the idea of starting our own brokerage, which nothing ever felt right in regards to what brand or when. And well, this finally does, to have our own Remax franchise and to do it in a way, where, like we were blessed to do the last 9 years with Patrick and Gina at Remax Orange Beach. We've had a great experience there and still remain kind of, really friendly with them. Their support has been amazing. But we're just excited for some new challenges when it comes to that. We're excited to kind of be able to share what we have learned over the years with maybe a larger focus group, and just, it's like I say, grow.
So you're, like you said earlier, you're a grower. You're not a manager. What would you want for people who are wanting to join this franchise but work with you guys? Like, what is your expectations but not join a team? Like your agents,
Like an
independent agents.
What would I expect for them?
Yeah, like what do you, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, just to be a part of something really exciting going forward, and build it with us. And then maybe, have access to some of our experience that we've had, whether it be leading a team or just in real estate transactions, as we've done a ton of them. And just kind of to share that growth with them and just allow us to help them, but also allow them to bring value to our organization, because that's certainly how it works. It's a two-way street, and to grow their business with us,
Independent agents who are wanting to join you guys, like what do you expect for them? Like what do you want for them out of?
Yeah, I mean, I just really want them to have a positive experience, and be excited to sell real estate, be around other people that are really trying to accomplish big things in their life, whether it be sales or other areas of their life, to feed off of each other in that way. I think that's the culture we're going to try to create, or we're going to create. And just to create an exciting atmosphere of business growth and personal growth.
With this franchise, how long you guys been thinking about that?
For about 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
The one interesting thing that I've noticed is that usually sometimes with a transition between, like a team or a franchisee, a team, independent agents going to a different brokerage, usually that relationship with the prior broker or whatever
It's strained.
Very strained. But
Yeah.
you and Patrick,
Yeah, it's not.
and Heather is very different.
That's it's really a testament to them and their leadership and the way they kind of teed it up and allowed it to happen. I think I can't say enough positive things about how they nurtured that and allowed it to kind of take place. I'd like to think we've been good to them too. We've tried to lift them up and respect them throughout the years, and so it's just a mutual respect that we have for each other, I think.
And so with Heather, she's kind of like the brains always behind the operation, right? What is her position for this new franchisee?
Well, she's going to start as she's still going to be a lead of the team, but she's going to also kind of be office manager operations for the brokerage, managing compliance and legal and but also and like I say, if we're helping another team grow, she has just as much to give in those relationships as I do. So from a operational standpoint, when it comes to pouring into agents, because that's really a lot of times that agents, that's their weakness, is they can sell, but they don't know how to operate a business. And, I'm not pointing fingers. Right. That is a weakness, so she can speak into that, and I think she will.
And you talk about teams. Will you have teams underneath the new franchise?
I mean, we're certainly open to it. We think we can help them, whether that'll happen, I don't know. We certainly think we have some value to give them. Yeah. And
so if you have buyers or sellers who are on the gates right now, just they're waiting to buy a home in 2025, what are some of the things or advice you would tell them to they're preparing to buy a home in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, it goes all the way back to affordability. I would get to know their personal situation. I think it's just different for every family, but if you can afford the house, I certainly would not be afraid to buy it. the sooner you can become a homeowner for the long term, the better. But it just depends on your personal situation. I mean, appreciation is not going to take place like it did in years past.
Right.
So if you're worried that, you need to sell it in the next year and pay commissions and get out and you can't, then you probably shouldn't buy a home. So understanding why they're buying a home and how long they plan on living there is important, and you should know that.
And how about sellers who are like, I hear this a lot of like, I hope, this home can sell in the next 30 days. What we tell sellers who are wanting, are preparing their home to sell, but they also want to sell it quickly. What's your advice to them in this current market?
Yeah, so I mean, for a home to sell quickly, it's either right now, I mean, not be doom and gloom, but I mean, either has to be slightly underpriced or priced properly and be better than the competition. Maybe you've got a really nice updated kitchen. Maybe you've got a nice pool. Or that would take the price above your competition. But I'm just saying, either you got to be priced below or you have to be priced the same and be better, or just be a rarity. There are those that are just a rare property, and those can sell. Otherwise, we're setting a reasonable expectation around average days on market.
Because I was one of those. You're like, yeah, my home is really nice. Yeah, it's of course going to sell.
Right.
Because it's still, I'm the homeowner, have unrealistic expectations of what my home is valued.
Right.
Days on market that's data, right? Like that's factual.
It's data driven, yeah.
So like, how do you manage how do you convey that to your?
Well, I just tell them I'm telling the truth. I'm not coming in here to pump up your ego and tell you and set us up for failure. I mean, I'd rather have difficult conversations now than difficult conversations later. So I just set a reasonable expectation based on my experience and what the data is telling me. Because sometimes the data can tell you one thing, but you may have some inside experience in that neighborhood, or maybe I'm working with several buyers looking for something like that right now that gives me a little more confidence. Things like that.
And this probably be our last one. We've been going on, but this is going to just touch up on just like your expectations and excitement for the brokerage, and what do you want the brokerage to be like? What's the culture? What's the culture fit? What do you want?
I just want it to be a culture of productivity, a culture of excitement to be in real estate, a culture of people wanting to grow their business, that are full-time and really trying to be the best that they can be, and want to be a part of something exciting and new, because I think it's going to be that. So that's what I and to partner with them, like I was saying earlier, it's a two-way street. Like I want to bring value to them, but I want them to bring value to the organization and feel valued, like they are contributing. I think that's important as well.
Our marketing's going to be pretty good.
Got a marketing guy, pretty good. Mm-hmm.